Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest album from Earth Rock, Black Tides of Obscurity, out March 6th on Season of Mist. The album has 10 tracks, 45 minutes in length, and this is the third full-length studio album from the Australian black and death metal band. This album offers a concept. I don't think the concept is solely connected to the lyrics on the record. I really feel the music really plays off of the concept, really plays off of the lyrics. But as far as the lyrics are concerned, it really takes you down a journey through life and all the negativity that comes through that journey, all the difficulties that we go through, and how can they really throw us down a very negative and dark spiral. So that is what you're going to get from the concept, from the lyrical side of things, which is perhaps nothing new. A lot of bands have touched on these topics. What it gets interesting for me is how the sound, how the music really plays off of the lyrics and vice versa. The dynamics between those two elements really offers a little bit more to this concept that you would perhaps expect. I really like the fluidity that the album has. That to me is definitely one of the positives, is how the album really takes you on a track by track basis and it has great playability all the way through. I also like how it rounds itself up. The last track on the album, which by the way almost sounds like a very blackened version of a Johnny Cash track, I really like how that song ends, and the ending, the melody at the end of that song plays into the opening track of the record. So there's a sense of continuity, there's a sense of loop, and there's definitely a sense of you being stuck in a spiral and just not finding your way out. That is the style as far as the structure of this record is concerned. The album has definitely the majority of the core elements being from a death metal perspective. At least to me, it really feels like this is in its core a death metal album, but obviously has a lot of blackened elements to the songs. Some songs even going a little bit more into the black metal arena and not depending solely on death metal elements to really create a very robust sound, a sound that really brings the lyrics to life. But overall, I really feel the core elements are death metal with a lot of blackened elements around it, most of them giving a very unique atmosphere to the tracks and really allowing that symbiosis between the lyrics, between the concept of the lyrics and the concept of the sound. The two are really interconnected, and I really feel that more so the black metal elements of the sound really play on that and really allow that transition between lyrics and sound to be very smooth and create a very interesting dynamic between the two. To me, the music is one element, but the other element is the vocals, as far not only as atmosphere, but as far as combining those two genres and the concept of the sound and the lyrics. I really like what they did with the vocals. The vocals are very dynamic. They didn't have one style and one style fits all kind of idea. They really are fluid. They use the vocals with different styles, different approaches, different registers, if you will, to really create an emphasis on the lyrics, on the story, on the specific message of the song. So I really like that because it expands the sound of the band, it expands the way they can approach each and individual song, and really allows their sound and the storytelling aspect to really go beyond the tracks and to really go beyond the borders of the genre that they are in. And I think you're going to find that a lot within this record. You're going to find some songs that almost feel out of place. Like I said, the last track on the album has a little bit of a blackened Johnny Cash feel, but that's not the only track. The Cape of Storms is a song that has a very interesting dynamic as far as guitars are concerned, because it really offers a more groovy melody into that track that perhaps doesn't really feel like it belongs on an album that is this raw, that has this much darkness, that is this heavy, this brutal. So there's definitely a lot of dynamics at change. There's definitely a lot of things moving, a lot of pieces moving in order to create a very unique sounding record that really merges, like I said, the concept of the sound with the concept of the lyrics. Overall, I felt this album to be very interesting in its approach. I really like the idea, I like the concept, but more important to me than the concept is the execution of that concept. So I really found this album to be very interesting, to have a very interesting approach, to have some very interesting dynamics. But overall, I didn't really feel extremely connected with the record. I felt at times that I would lose connection with some of the tracks, and then I would regain connection with some tracks later on. I didn't feel like I was immediately committed to the album, listening to the first song going all the way through, that I would lose myself within the record. And while sometimes that's a good thing for you to lose yourself in the music, sometimes it could be a negative because you could lose track of where you are on the record. You could lose track of all the other dynamics that are at play, being lyrics, being sound, being structure. So to me, there is something missing on this record. While very interesting and having a very interesting approach and being very raw, very heavy, very dynamic, to me there was something that didn't click specifically with me. That's not to say that the album is not good. Like I said, it's very interesting. I really like the idea behind it, but more so I like the execution of merging those two worlds. But in that execution, in that merger, there's a little bit of something missing. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there's it missing. And that to me allowed me to lose a little bit of focus and lose a little bit of connection with the record, and getting me stuck to the record from the first song to the last song. But overall, very interesting record, very interesting dynamics, very interesting approach for this third album. As far as songs are concerned, I picked 3 songs that offer something different, that offer different dynamics, different structure, different sound. I want to start off with New Horns. Powerful track, second track on the album. Powerful track, and I really like the cool switch between the more blackened sounding riffs with the more traditional death metal sound. This is a song that really plays off of that dynamic between those two genres, and you feel like the whole song is fluctuating between one and the other. You're really not sure which one is the dominant one and which one is the more submissive. You really feel like both of them are fighting to be predominant in the track and to have control of the track. So I really like what it creates. I like the dynamic that creates. I like the changes that it creates. At the midpoint, there's a guitar melody that really pulls the somber side of the song forward. I really like that, because the song does have some somber moments, but they're really hidden by the brutality of the death metal sound. So I really like that guitar riff in the middle bridge there that just brings a little bit of that more blackened darkness to the forefront, that somber atmosphere to the forefront, giving the song a different dynamic, giving the song a different look, making the heaviness that comes afterwards feeling even heavier. Next, Cape of Storms, a song that has a very interesting dynamic. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. There's this middle bridge there that the sound almost sounds like something out of Infectious Grooves. It just feels completely out of place with the record and with the band and with the overall DNA that this record has to offer. It really caught me by surprise, because the song has a lot of heaviness to it, has a lot of brutality to it, both musically and vocally. It really feels demolishing at times. So when there's a bass bridge that comes in for a few seconds, that it's really the setup to that more groovy melody, that more groovy guitar melody, you're really caught off guard, because you're not expecting that on this track, you're not expecting that on this record. So that takes you a little bit of time to really digest and feel what is it doing there. So to me, the only issue that I had with it is perhaps it went a little bit too long. It became too predominant, and it took too much away from the rest of the song. And these are some of the elements, like I said, that allows you to disconnect from the record and really lose track of where you are in your listening experience as far as the album is concerned. So I like the grooviness, I just didn't like how much they gave in this song, allowing the song to really be broken down into 2 parts, what happened before and what happens after. After, obviously, the song becomes destructive again, becomes heavy again, really going back to its roots and how it started. But to me, that middle piece there was far too long, far too stretched, and really allowed the song to have this disconnecting feeling, and then overall allowing the track to feel very disconnected from the rest of the record. Next, Serpent's Ocean, a song that in my opinion has a very deep black metal influence to it, perhaps one of the more black metal driven tracks on the album. They still have death metal elements to this track. The brutality of death metal is still present on this track, but I just feel overall this song really plays off more on the black metal side than it does on the death metal side. I really like the high octane that it has. I really like the riffs, the really darkened riffs, rough and raw at times, but I really like the melody that they give, and I really like the ambiance that they give to the song, really plays off extremely well from the vocals and from the lyrics. This song has a very linear approach overall. There's no fluctuations, there's no breaks, there's no bridges, there's no changes in any sort of aspect of the track. It's very pretty much what you get from the beginning of the song, you're going to get all the way to the end. All that it changes to me is how the riffs are coming at you and a little bit of the tempos of those riffs. But the melody is still there, the darkness is still there, the heaviness is still there. There's just very small fluctuations, nothing major, nothing that really allows you to look at this song and feel like it's broken apart. Even when you go from the verses to the chorus, there's still not many changes happening to there. The song still feels very continued, still feels very structured, and very compact from a sound and vocal perspective. A very robust track. In my opinion, this is a very robust track, and like I said before, a track that has a lot of black metal into it, and I really like the sound and the feel that it gave to the overall listening experience and to the overall album. Really interesting track. Alright guys, this is it. This is Earthrot with Black Tides of Obscurity, once again out March 6th on Season of Mist. Let me know your thoughts. I'm really interested to see what you have to say about the band, what you have to say about the album. I really want to see if you agree with me or if I'm completely wrong. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.